In the twilight of the 20th century, a story originates from the Grand Canyon, which made the researchers stunned. This mysterious story will arouse the curiosity of many generations to come. It was the story that happened in 1909. At that time, the Phoenix Gazette published an article that shook their minds. The researchers had a shocking discovery hidden deep in the vast Grand Canyon. The Grand Canyon is the largest mountain range in the world, both in size, depth, and length. This discovery is linked to an ancient civilization on this planet, the Egyptian civilization. According to the article, an expedition sponsored by the Smithsonian Institute, led by Professor S.A. Jordan, went to the remotest and most inaccessible area of the Grand Canyon in an adventurous way. That is Marble Canyon. Here, they accidentally discovered a series of caves that could change the consciousness of the human species forever. Those are the caves that contain evidence of ancient Egyptian civilization. What secrets are hidden in the most magnificent organ that Mother Nature has given us? Does the Grand Canyon explain the existence and connection with an ancient civilization? Let's find out the answer to these questions in today's exploration journey of the Phoenix Gazette. Before starting this exciting journey, don't forget to like and subscribe to support the whole team. Let's get started. Let's take a look at one of the greatest natural wonders of mankind. The magnificent, vast, and unique colors of the Grand Canyon will make you feel like you are lost in a strange alien planet that is no longer on Earth. In the middle of a vast plateau, the ground shakes down to form a huge, deep, and widespread cave. From that cave rise countless red-brown rocks that look like ancient temples lying side by side. The mountains here have a very strange shape with very even and mysterious rocks. Water, wind, and time have created on its surface layers of rocks, forming a very special geography. Researchers say that the Grand Canyon is nearly 2.5 million years old. And in the special geography of the Grand Canyon, explorers are said to have found a network of tunnels and rooms here, specifically in Marble Canyon. One of the tunnels is said to contain artifacts related to ancient Egyptian civilization. These caves are described as large and complex. Researchers have actually found rooms for living, and even a ceremony hall. The layout of the rooms in the caves is described as having a striking resemblance to the ancient temples or tombs of ancient Egypt. All of this makes us wonder about their true origins. Because when the distance is far away, it hinders everything in ancient times. It is difficult for a civilization to exist in many places like this on Earth. More specifically, those descriptions refer to a cave system called the King Cake Caverns. This cave is named after the head of a group of scientists who discovered them, the G. King Cake. King Cake and his group traveled through the Colorado Mountains, and then through the Grand Canyon. That place is full of minerals and rare metals such as gold and silver. King Cake wanted to see what he and his group could find before the canyon was banned by the government. King Cake discovered a series of rooms with complex architecture, covered by the dust of the desert for thousands of years. He followed the steps, which were finely carved, and led to the entrance to the cave. The passage was clearly made by human hands. King Cake stepped in, and something unexpected happened. Under the dim light, the walls, which are lined with layers in front of the wall, could be from the ancient Egyptians, appeared in front of the group of scientists. The rooms are similar to those of the ancient pharaohs. But it was just the beginning. King Cake went deeper with his group. A huge complex, estimated to accommodate about 50,000 people, appeared in front of the scientists. It was a groundbreaking discovery. In front of the wall, the statues were decorated with pictures depicting the life of the ancient people along the Nile River. The figures that King Cake discovered were extremely vivid and delicate. In the cave, there was even a separate area for metal crafting. According to King Cake, if this complex really existed in the ancient times, then the human level at that time could not have reached such a high level. Unexpectedly, King Cake discovered a room that contained dozens of dead bodies that were carefully preserved like what modern people found in Egypt. The presence of the bodies and the way people buried the bodies lived in the Nile River cave in Grand Canyon. King Cake understood that if he wanted to discover all these mysteries, he needed more help. If the rooms were really discovered in Grand Canyon related to Egyptian civilization, we will really understand more about everyday life, culture, and the economic activity of the ancient people. One of the most impressive figures in this excavation are the statues that look like gods or pharaohs of the Egyptian people. The presence of these precious figures clearly proves that this is not just the passing of time of two cultures. In fact, the ancient Egyptian culture once existed here in the past. However, the identity of these figures is still a hot topic in many debates. Kincaid sent to Smithsonian, the most famous historical museum in the United States, the records and the figures that he found. Clearly, in the great story of the disappearance of Egyptian civilization, the figures that Kincaid discovered are the most important links between modern people and the past. Perhaps from these figures, we will discover the secrets that have been kept secret for a long time. The recent information about the cave in Grand Canyon quickly caught the attention of researchers. The scientists of the Smithsonian Museum hurried here to find out the truth. The team of scientists and Kincaid discovered something unbelievable. The ancient people really built an almost perfect symmetrical structure. All the tunnels or caves lead to a cave in the center. In that room, they discovered a large statue resembling a Buddha statue in Eastern culture. The team of researchers has put forward a theory that perhaps a civilization that existed on the other side of the world also formed and developed in Grand Canyon in ancient times. The highly educated people with excellent careers in Asia have come to North America in some way in the past. You know, modern people call America the New World because we think it is really isolated and has just been discovered in recent centuries. Perhaps the ancient Egyptians discovered America before Columbus, or what? At the end of the 19th century to the early 20th century, there were a series of articles about the discovery of structures believed to be similar to Egypt in the Grand Canyon. For example, in the Mississippi Valley. However, these discoveries are often not complete, lost, or even destroyed. Therefore, the discovery is extremely difficult. In fact, the idea that the ancient Egyptians crossed the vast oceans to come to America thousands of years ago is a theory that can mislead all historical values. These unimaginable things are still entirely possible because the ancient Egyptians had built buildings that were beyond the imagination of modern people. For example, the White Tower. According to the World History and Science, the Smithsonian Institute did not provide any concrete evidence or statement for this shocking discovery. Therefore, the story of the Grand Canyon has led to a series of misleading assumptions. Did the Smithsonian contribute to covering a mystery that changed the eternal human race? Did the Smithsonian contribute to covering, could it be that the past of man has eternal things that make it rest in peace but can't wake it up? As the myths about civilization have existed in the Grand Canyon more and more, the disputes have also increased. The Grand Canyon is not just a magnificent landscape that nature gave. It is also a symbol for the history that has been hidden. The Smithsonian Institute since its founding has been the guide of the American archaeologists. The archaeologists here have led many discoveries, discovered many objects and knowledge that have been buried by time. However, it is surprising that the Smithsonian Institute right after Kincaid's has denied all the related mysteries in the Grand Canyon. But this clearly can't stop the public's doubts. Why is a place that is said to be the pioneer of archaeology left out one of such important discoveries? What mystery is hidden behind the silence of the Smithsonian? Are the objects that have been discovered previously being hidden in the Grand Canyon? The contact of ancient civilizations across the ocean is not an impossible thing. What if the ancient Egyptians were helped by their friends from other planets? Perhaps everything will become easier to understand when we believe in this theory. Maybe the Egyptians came to the Grand Canyon and left behind hidden treasures that even time can't erase here. But the artifacts found in many different cultures really contain evidence suggesting journeys to distant lands. The Vikings coming to America before Columbus has proven that perhaps what we often hear in historical documents doesn't seem to be true in reality. There are also evidence that Chinese explorers came to America hundreds of years before the Vikings. But coming to the Grand Canyon is a completely different story. How did ancient people get advanced technologies to discover millions of rocks to build such a mysterious city? Hopi, an indigenous group that lived in some states such as New Mexico, Arizona, Utah, and Colorado, known for the exact prophecies about the future of the world, have an interesting legend about ants. According to them, they are smaller than humans and have eyes as big as insects. When the Great Ocean War happened, all civilization was destroyed. A shining star suddenly appeared in the sky and the ants brought the Hopi to the cave under the Grand Canyon. Most ancient civilizations have legends about floods. They describe a global disaster when the sea level rises. Civilizations that existed on the ground were extinct. But there is another point in these legends, which is that those who appeared after the terrible flood were chosen by the gods, and maybe they were the people under the Grand Canyon. Ancient Egyptians used the Nile River as a convenient cargo transport. They really navigated the Nile River. However, their trips across the ocean still caused a lot of disputes. In addition to good river navigation, ancient Egyptians also had ships that could move on the sea. The Egyptian exploration to Pant under the rule of Queen Hatshepsut is still a fascinating and mysterious journey that humans have yet to explore. According to Ancient Origins magazine, all kinds of commercial goods have value and origin from Pant. An important commercial exploration by the Egyptian Queen Hatshepsut not only brought raw materials and food, but also gold, gems, and a few live elephants. Major explorations often brought Egyptian goods such as tools and wood to Pant and brought valuable luxury goods. But to this day, scientists still have not determined the exact location of this kingdom because the pharaohs had foreseen it. The location of Pant was once the most similar to Somalia today. But the current theory suggests that Pant is located in southern Sudan or in Eritrea of Ethiopia because there are many kinds of plants described in paintings, or in gold documents. Most of today's scholars believe that Pant is in the southeast of Egypt, most likely in the coastal areas of Somalia, Djibouti, Eritrea, northern Ethiopia, and the Red Coast of Sudan. However, some scholars have noticed that thanks to the ancient words that people have determined the location of Pant in the Arab Peninsula, it can also be found in Africa and southern Arabia today. After the end of the New Kingdom, Pant has become a myth in mythology and legend. However, many people believe that the ancient or modern Pant is the Grand Canyon today. Those who support this theory have found similarities in artistic style, architecture, and religion in the ancient lands of Egypt and the indigenous Americans, which have a very long geographical distance. Although many scholars think that this is just the evolution of culture, it is not a direct contact. However, the progress of the movement science may help modern people clearly understand the migration of ancient people. However, at present, there is no movement evidence supporting the legend of the presence of the Egyptians in the American Gulf of Columbia. Despite the scientific evidence, theories about the contact with the ocean still attract a lot of attention. Do you realize what this is? Those are figurines. But they are not found in Egypt in the tombs of the pharaohs but found in Australia. Garsfotglits, also known as Carolean figurines, is a group of about 300 Egyptian-style figurines in Carolean, Australia. They are found in a famous area with pictures of the people living between Gosford and Goigor, New South Wales, in the British National Park near water. The strange and mysterious features of the ancient Egyptian civilization are carved deeply on two large limestone pillars. They still exist thanks to the evolution of time. The truth is that even though the layers of time hide them, one day we will find all the secrets of the ancient civilization. For decades, the people of the central coast of New South Wales have argued about the authenticity of these evidences. Many people believe that these special figures originate from ancient. The brave climbed up the narrow gap between the and the limestone pillars to examine the figures. These figures look familiar to anyone who knows about the ancient Egypt, including the image of Anubis, the name of the Khufu. Is the ancient Egyptians still here, or do they just have a long race? To answer the question, is the ancient Egyptians really still here, the Egyptologists came to investigate these images and concluded that they are, and there are many contradictions as well as errors in the signs. However, this does not prevent many locals from maintaining their faith and honesty. Others believe that they may be the work of a local living in the area or the reflection of the number of Egyptian scholars spreading around the world after the discovery of the tomb of Tutankhamun. The Egyptian scholar Boyo Osinga of the University of Bakuri also denied the claim that these signs could have been made by the Egyptians who were crushed by ships from many millennia ago. According to him, they are very unorganized, not according to any image. This means that someone or a group of people may have drawn these statues but from different eras in Egyptian history. So who made them? As evidenced in the ABC article, Osinga believes that these signs may have been made in a more recent period in Australian history. He believes that these statues may have been made in the 1920s because people were interested in ancient Egypt after the tomb of Tutankhamun was discovered at that time. Throughout human history, there have been many civilizations using the glyphs, but only the Egyptian glyphs were really considered as statues. We don't know exactly when the glyphs were developed, but we know that they have been around for a long time. It is possible that the idea of a system of glyphs to be imported into Egypt started from the name glyphs of the Sumerians. But this theory is being debated a lot. Our oldest evidence of the original glyphs dates back to about 3500 BC. The first full glyph is actually from about 2800 to 2700 BC. Both of these examples are found in tombs because the drawings on the glyphs were hidden during the Nahuatl period in the carvings of the tombs belonging to the First Dynasty. Although there are still many debates, in general, the theory of the intercontinental contact from ancient times still receives a lot of support. Many people believe that the land of Australia in modern times is the location of the rich spandex in ancient legends. If this is true, it will force modern people to change their perception of ancient Egyptians. Perhaps they have developed their faith in us many times now. Clearly, although the flow of time has been silent, the hidden truths hidden deep inside the Grand Canyon are beyond the understanding of modern people. Very few people have stated that they have really found the secret civilization of the Grand Canyon. This is the wife of Jerry Wills and Kathy, the people who never stop researching the discoveries of the kinks in the Grand Canyon. Jerry Wills and Kathy have been studying the secret of the kinks for many years. Clearly, finding one of the pasts buried by thousands of years is not an easy task. Their strategy is to find the original base of the explorers, which will lead them to the secret cave of advanced civilization. After many years of research and exploration of the kinked area, Jerry and his research team say that he has found the cave. His wife and son have discovered a site surrounded by artifacts from ancient times. And on the wall of the mountain alley just below this area, they believe that it is the entrance to the city underground. However, the exploration is very difficult. The entire area is said to have caves, which have now been identified by the federal government as being outside the area of approach. About 1,000 caves have been discovered in the Grand Canyon. Many caves were created by humans, but only about 30 caves have been set up on the map, and many of them have been blocked for safety reasons. Curiosity has awakened the courage of humans. Many people are willing to accept the risk and sign a paper accepting all the worst that can happen. The government will not take responsibility if there is a problem. But clearly, the government does not agree with this. Self-discovery in the Grand Canyon is too dangerous. The question here is whether the US government is really interested in the explorers or not. Or in fact, they want to hide the mysteries that can change the civilization of humanity forever. Some other caves in the Grand Canyon have been blocked by steel gates. It seems that some mystery is being buried. Despite the obstacles posed by the federal government, some people are still willing to risk being fined or imprisoned to find the lost city in the Grand Canyon. When Jerry and Kathy's team tried to explore the area, an unidentified aircraft appeared from nowhere and flew over their heads. Obviously, they are being watched, although that part of the Grand Canyon is a restricted area, and in fact, no aircraft are allowed to fly in the area. Jerry Giles believes that this is a warning and his team decided not to continue exploring. Exploring caves from above is almost impossible. But what about exploring it from below, as Julie Kincaid did? Another group of explorers tried this, but when they got close to the site, a black helicopter appeared. Not a tourist helicopter, not even a black civilian helicopter, but something like this. If you are a fan of military equipment, you will probably realize that this is an Apache fighter helicopter. After that, this group explored the area above to find the windmills that Kincaid had written, and realized that this could be a way down. They found some random giant cement blocks in the middle of the canyon. Some of these blocks are near circular walls with hardened steel rings that will be used to support climbers. When asked about this, Giles said that these are just ancient structures to prevent rocks from falling. In addition, in this area, the rocks also have statues referring to great works directly related to ancient Egyptian culture. And certainly, there can be no random coincidence across the ocean in the condition that all movements are limited in the past. David Hatcher Theodres is a famous writer who has published 200 books often mentioning ancient mysteries. He believes that the US government is actively preventing scientific research. He said that although the movie Riders of the Lost Ark is a hoax, but the last scene shows that researchers close to the reality show that Smithsonian, an independent federal agency, is hiding some of the most important discoveries made in the US. He said that the cover-up began in 1881 with the famous geographer John Wesley Powell. Powell appointed Cyrus Thomas to be the director of the Eastern Mount Institute of Ethnic Studies at the Smithsonian. When Thomas arrived at the Smithsonian, He believed that there was a race with a different way of building that came to the US before the indigenous people we still know. In this concept, which is called the expansionism, it shows that throughout history, there has been a widespread distribution of culture and civilization even in remote areas. The Smithsonian has done the opposite approach and promoted independence. It states that most civilizations are isolated and have little contact with each other, especially when they are separated by large waters, that is, the oceans. This is even more difficult than ever. It is believed that advanced civilizations and the population in the Ohio Valley and the Mississippi are very rare, and they have no connection to other advanced cultures such as the Aztecs, the Toltecs, or the Mayans. But the Mississippi River runs from Canada to the Gulf of Mexico. Saying that these cultures are isolated is ridiculous. When examining the ancient lands of the Midwest, they show all the existence of a complex culture with cities larger than cities in Europe at that time. They also reveal the graves of extremely tall people, sometimes up to 7 or 8 feet. When the Spiro Valley was excavated in the 1930s, they found bones 7 to 8 feet high. This is when the average height of men is about 5 to 6 feet, so they are really giants. Unfortunately, those bones were lost. In 1892, Frank Burns discovered an iron coffin in Alabama during a geological survey. The coffins are about 7.5 meters long and seem to have been drilled with fire and cast with metal. These discoveries were sent to the Smithsonian in 1984, but the Smithsonian denied these things. Their answer was, "We can't find the items in our collection, although the documents show that they have been received." But how can a few tons of giant iron coffins disappear so easily? After a while, 8 years later, the Smithsonian stated that they had found the coffins, but they were kept in a warehouse in Amiens, so no one could see them. During World War II, a group of pilots built a balloon in Alaska and excavated an area full of human bones. The bones are said to be 2 or 3 times the size of a normal person. This discovery was confirmed by many sources. The Smithsonian collected these discoveries, and it was the last time people heard about it. Stories like this exist from Alaska to the City of Mexico. There seems to be a common point with the stories we mentioned above about the Great Canyon. There was a shocking discovery that was discovered by someone. The Smithsonian will be in trouble. And then, all evidences disappear quickly like raindrops. Perhaps, those are extremely dangerous secrets. They can make the future of all mankind fall into darkness. It seems that the US government really has evidence that an advanced race has existed in North America for a long time before the indigenous tribes came. For whatever reason, this is the evidence they don't want to reveal. Traditionally, we can regard this as meaningless. But the Hopi and other tribes in the Great Canyon believe in it. The Hopi said that when the first people appeared in the Great Canyon, they sent a message to the sky asking for peace. The person who sent the message hasn't returned yet. But even today in the Hopi, in the cold weather, people can see the elderly people in the tribe on the roof of their houses looking at the cold weather waiting for the person to send the message home. And when they do that, the ancient land will be returned to the first people. And all the evidences seem to be hidden by the US government. They believe in the ancient and advanced civilization that existed in the Great Canyon thousands of years ago. Is it our ancestors? Or is it a mystery like reptilian? And all the stories of G. Kinkit are true in reality. It's just the vivid imagination of a journalist who is having a hard time. The mountains, the caves, the valleys, the millions of years old rocks are hidden in the fog in the Great Canyon. Maybe it will be a topic of discussion for a long time until the truth is revealed.